Hi, it's Darcy Loma, and we just finished another workout in the Thoughtfully Fit gym. Every month we do a couple of free workouts. And if you missed it, we wanted to share with you a little recap because today we talked about the elephants on your team. All right, so if you're sitting there going like the elephants, what does that mean? Well, we do a lot of team retreats, team assessments, we do interviews, and then we bring a team together to improve the team dynamics, to talk about what's working and what's not working and what will make them high performing. And so we notice a lot of times that there are elephants. These are issues that are present. It's clear that they're present because when I'm doing the interviews or Jill or in one of my team members, we hear about the issues that are present, but they're not talked about in the full group.
And the impact of these elephants is while it's easier not to talk about it, just to pretend that there's nothing going on, nothing to see here, the long-term impact is a different story, because when those issues are avoided, those elephants are just ignored in the room, those issues can then take root. And so what was a minor disagreement when not discussed can become a much bigger issue. What we also see with teams is when those elephants aren't addressed, the team starts to lose focus on the work. They spend more time on discussing the team dynamics and the people issues within the team, as opposed to the work that everybody is typically pretty good at or interested in doing. And then the final impact is teams get stuck. When they're not able to find a way forward or figure out how to deal with these elephants that are lurking around, things can just feel a little heavy, get a little tense, and the team starts to not move forward anymore. So what we want to share are some of the common elephants that we see in the teams that we work with. And so if these are elephants that you might be seeing on your team, know that you are not alone. What we explored in the workout today was just even that first step of recognizing. You might be able to feel the elephant in the room, but taking time to really get clear. What is the elephant that we're dealing with here? So elephant number one, we don't trust each other. And it might be because the team is new. More often than not, it's because I've already seen your work and I don't trust you, or something happened, we disappointed each other, we missed a deadline, the collaboration didn't work well, and now I don't trust you to move forward. Team members will rarely say, I don't trust you. And instead that elephant will lurk around in the form of not responding to emails and sort of saying, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then things don't happen. So that's number one. Number two, we just don't like each other. How many of you have ever said that to somebody, right? It's not something that is necessarily said out loud. And yet I'm guessing on your team, you might have experienced when two people are in a disagreement where things just aren't in the groove, everybody else can feel it. There's an impact.
So elephant number three, what are we doing here? We find that there are times when you're in a meeting and you're wondering, like, what's the purpose of this meeting? Or what's the goal of this conversation? What are we doing? And you're wondering it, and you might afterwards have a post-meeting meeting where you have a conversation with somebody else saying, what was that? What was even the point of that? But you don't say it in the moment. It's an elephant. Number four, we're having a hard time with change. There's a whole spectrum, and this might be a hard time with change because there's so much change that's happening so fast and you can't keep up and you don't even know what's going on, or you feel like you're out of the loop, or there's not enough change. Like we are not keeping up. We are not being innovative. Anywhere along that spectrum, there are people who have their leapers, they love change, and there are tradition holders, they hate change. When it becomes an elephant in the room, it's just not talked about and it's left unaddressed. And as Jill said earlier, then it can create bigger root issues. And elephant number 5, these are just some common elephants that we see when we're working with teams, is that people are talking, but they aren't saying much. And so there's a lot of chitter chatter, a lot of conversation, but it's not really getting to the meat of the issue. It's not really at the heart of what's going on in the dynamics in the team. And instead, the real conversations are being avoided.
So these are some of the common elephants that we see on teams, but by no means are they all of the elephants that we see on the team. And so the other thing that we explored in the workout that we want to share with you today are, what are some questions that you can ask to meet your elephants? And these are questions that you can use to reflect on your own. These are questions that you can also discuss and explore as a team in the way that you might want to, recognizing it can be uncomfortable and awkward to talk about the elephants that are in that room. So here are a few questions you can ask. The first one, what is this team avoiding? Just leave it at that. What is this team avoiding? It might not come to mind immediately, but give your team a moment to think about what is this team avoiding, and see what comes up. The next question is, what are the bad habits that are getting in the way of this team's success? And when I say bad habits, I'm not suggesting that you think about your own best habits or other people's bad habits for them. Though taking time to reflect on your own bad habits can certainly be helpful. But the intent of this question is to think of, what are the team's bad habits? So for example, a lot of teams that we work with, one of the bad habits they have is saying everything is fine, when in fact it isn't. Or a team that we worked with recently realized that one of their bad habits was using humor as a way to deflect when people were disagreeing. So there are bad habits that can get in the way of success, not just on an individual basis, but for the team.
We have 2 more questions for you to ponder and either discuss with your team or reflect on in your own. What does this team need to hear if only someone was brave enough to say it? That's a powerful question, because oftentimes if there's not psychological or emotional safety on the team, I'm not going to say something. I don't want to, get my head chopped, chewed off. If I put my leg out there, stick my leg out, stick my neck out there, whatever it is, leg, neck, elbow. And so that's a way to uncover the things that the team needs to hear, but nobody's brave enough to say. And then the last question is, what's your hope for this team? And this question can be powerful because it's a little bit of an appreciative inquiry lens, where instead of saying what's not working, what are we not saying, this can be a way to invite feedback and dialogue on the team without any sense of blame or criticism. It's more like, well, my hope is that we could be more direct with each other. My hope is that we could stop using sarcasm and biting humor to, sort of passively aggressively comment on things. And so that is a way to take a look at what the elephants are, but in a way that's future focused, in a way that is really more shining the light on what you want instead of what's not working. So it can feel a little bit safer. So with that, we thank you so much for joining us for this Thoughtfully Fit Gym free workout recap. We do a couple workouts a month. And so if you want to join one of our upcoming live workouts, you can go to darcyloma.com, click on the gym and sign up, and you'll get the link. We don't record those because we really like to create a safe space for real vulnerable conversation and learning to happen. We'd love to see you at an upcoming workout. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care.